left click on sketch, left click top plane, left click center point circle, hover over the center, left click, drag that out. We're going to make 2 of these. Left click, come up, left click on the dimension tool, drag that out. This is going to be 0.77 for the inner diameter. For the outer diameter, we're going to go 1 inch. Close that sketch out. Let's go extrude. Let's take what we just made and let's make that 2.5 inches long. All right, we extruded that. Solid, new, faces to sketch, the 2 circles, and then there's our length, our depth. Close that out. Let's stay here in the front plane. We're going to go sketch. We're going to go left click front plane, left click center point circle, find the center. You see that yellow dotted line. We're going to drag that up. And this is going to be smaller because this is what the hoop segments are going to go in. We're going to do 2 of these just to give it some support. And then go over to the dimension tool. This one will be 0.52. Left click and go 1 inch. So pretty thick, but inner diameter is going to be, in reality, it would be 0.50. We're making it just a little bit larger so that those hoops can slide in there. Close out the sketch. Let's go to isometric view. Let's go to extrude. And we're going to do solid add, actually solid new. Click on the sketch. Let's make that symmetric so it'll start in the center. And let's go 4 inches. And close that out. Now notice something. I want this to go all the way up to that edge. So let's go back to that sketch and let's make a change here. Let's go to the dimension tool. Is it up enough? Let's go 0.05. Let's do that. Let's do half of that. That'll be good. Half of that. That'll be good. Over. Let's look at that. Now if we want that tube to go all the way through, which would be good, it would provide a little bit more support if this 3/4 inch tube goes through. Let's go back to top view. Let's go left click on the sketch, left click top view, center point circle, hover over the center, drag that out, go up, left click on the dimension tool, find that circle we just created, and we'll go 0.77. There we go. And then let's extrude that. Left click on the sketch we just created. Let's go depth at 3 inches because that was 2.5. There we go. And it's on new, so it's creating a new part. Let's go remove. Reverse the direction. There we go. And it's asking what do we want to merge this with. So we want it with the part we just created. So merge scope with this part here. Because it needs to know what part we want to merge with. We want this one because it's a separate part. We created it as a separate part. And then left click. And then that should have taken that center. So the reason these are 2 different colors is they're 2 separate parts. Not a big deal. We could have avoided that when we first made the extrusion, but I'll show you how to turn those in. It'll be good practice. So if this happens to you, you kind of know what's going on. Let's go left click on this one and then shift left click part 17 so that we select both. And then we're going to right click bouillon. And that's going to turn that in union into one part. So now you'll notice part 16, there's just one here. It you could have done boolean right up here. So we did it through right clicking on the part. You could have done it there after you selected both. So this is going to be part 16. Let's go rename. Part 16 spar hoop connection. So this is what's going to connect the spar, the outer portion of the spar, to the hoop. There we go. Create part 17. Let's go to top view. Left click sketch, left click top plane, left click center point circle, hover over the center, drag that out. Let's do that twice. Left click dimension tool. Let's go out to 1 inch here, 0.77 here. There we go. Close that sketch, go to front view. Create a new sketch, left click on sketch, left click front plane, left click line tool, hover over the center, left click, draw that out. We're going to go right around 3.5, and we'll drag this one out to right around 2.5. Hit escape to stop the line. Left click on the dimension tool, drag this out. Let's make that exactly 3.5. Let's drag this one out. Let's make that one 2.5. Let's left click here, left click the other line. That's going to be 155. There we go. Come up to sketch fillet tool, left click this line, left click here. It's going to be a radius of 1. It's already set there, so we're going to leave that. Hit enter. Just going to drag that out so it's easier to see. Let's close that sketch out. Let's go to isometric view. Let's go to sweep. Left click on both of the circles we created. Left click on sweep path until it turns blue. Left click here on the first line, second line, third line. Make sure you get all of those segments. So we close that out. Let's go to front view again. We're going to go left click front plane, left click center point circle. We're going to hover over the center. We're going to draw that up. Left click, we're going to form 2 circles. Let's go up, left click on the dimension tool, scroll over. Let's do 1 inch here, 0.77 here. Left click on the center of that circle, left click on the bottom part of that tube. We're going to go 2.75. There we go. Close that out. Let's go to isometric view. Left click on extrude. We want to do solid new. And we're going to left click on the center point circles we just created. So left click on those. We want to go symmetric, and we want to go 5 inches. All right, left click, close that out. Now we did add there, so it instead of a new part like we did on the last one, we did add, so it just added to the existing part. So now we need to cut that out. Left click on sketch, left click front plane, left click center point circle, drag this up from the center so you see that line so that you're in the center of the tube. Drag that out. Come up, left click on the dimension tool, left click that circle we just created, 0.77. Left click on that. Go to isometric view so we can see it. And let's go to extrude, solid, remove. Want to select that circle we just created. We want it to be symmetric, and we want to do greater than what we just did. So we'll do 6 inches. That'll cut that out. And now we can come around to the front and look at our part. All right, that looks good. Let's rename that. So rename, and that's going to be side spar connections. Connection, after you've right clicked and renamed, you can go ahead and turn that one off. All right, left click sketch, left click front plane, left click line tool, left click on that line, drag it out again, hit escape, left click dimension tool, left click on that first line, that's going to be 3.25. Left click on the second line, that's going to be 2 inches. Left click on both lines, and we're going to create the angle, that's going to be 157. Come up and left click on sketch fillet. Let's select both of those lines. We're going to do a radius of the bend at 1 inch. This one's already set at that, but you could double click on that to change it if you wanted to. We're not going to change it. Close that out. Let's go over isometric view. Let's go to sweep. Left click on both of the circles. Left click on swept path. Select your first line, second line, third line. Close that out. Everything looks good. Let's go to top view. Left click sketch. Left click top view. Left click center point circle. Let's drag this over. Let's create a center point circle right here. Let's do 2 of those. Let's scale it. Left click on the dimension. Left click 1 inch on the first or outer diameter, and then on the inner diameter 0.73. Select the center of the circle. Select that area. Select the edge of the tube. Let's go 3.15. Let's do 3.15. See how that, yeah, that's right in the center. Close that out. There. Let's go to extrude. We want to do add, sketch 49. We want it symmetric. There we go. That looks good. And let's close that out. We're actually going to make that sketch. Let's go back to that extrusion. You notice how it stops right there? I want to make it a little bit taller. Let's go back and do 1.1. See how that looks. That's pretty good. We're going to left click sketch, left click front plane, left click center point circle. Let's drag that out. Let's make us 2 circles. One's going to be the outer diameter, which will be 1 inch. One is going to be the inner diameter, which is going to be 0.73. We'll select that line here and the edge of the tube. Let's draw that out. What did we do? 3.15. All right, so 3.15 there puts us right in the center. Close that out. Let's go to isometric view. Let's go to extrude. We want to do solid add because we want it to be connected to that part. We want the tube we just created. So those, select the circles we just created. Let's do 3 inches. There we go. That looks good. So we're going to go over here to left. We're going to go sketch. Left click that right plane. And we're going to drag this out. We're going to select the dimension tool and go 0.77. We're going to close that out. We're going to hit extrude. We're going to select the dimension we just extracted. We're going to do 3 inches here. There we go. That should get it pretty close to the center. Actually, let's do 2.5. 2.5 there. We want it to stop short. We want it to remove. We're going to flip the direction and then close that out. So we'll have our 3/4 inch tube come here, 3/4 inch tube here. Check something real quick. Yeah, this needed to be 0.76. 0.77. Let's go up to top view. We're going to sketch, top view, center point circle. We're going to start in the center and come out here. Drag that out. Select our dimension tool. We want this to be 0.77. Select that back to the edge. And I think we were at 3.15. Yeah. Go ahead and extrude that. So extrude, select the sketch we just created. We're going to go symmetric, remove, and then close that out. Go with that. We also need it to cut through this piece here. So let's go greater than 1 inch. Let's go 2 inches symmetric, and that should cut through that. Let's close that out. There we go. So I'm going to go back up to this extrude 20, and I'm just going to change the height of that, just so that rim goes all the way up there. We need a mirror image of this because we can't just flip this one over because of the angle. So we're going to left click to highlight it, and we're going to come up here to mirror, left click on that. It's asking us the plane. So we want one just right across from it. So imagine if this plane split it in half, this right plane. That's how you want to think about it if you want it to copy one just on the other side of this plane. So left click on mirror plane, left click on right plane, and it makes a mirror image over here. Not required, but it helps. Notice now we have two parts. Let's left click on the part we just created. Let's go to transform. Let's go to X, Y, and Z, and let's just pull that apart a little bit. You can also do that by just typing the distance you want in the x-axis. Now let's go down here. Let's right click. Let's hit rename, and then part 18 is going to be back frame hoop connection. And we'll rename both of those. So part 19, back frame hoop connection. These can be the same color. So let's go edit appearance. Let's do something we haven't done before. Let's do a purple. Close that. We'll do purple for this one. Edit appearance. Same color. Let's close those two out. Let's turn part 17 on. I don't think we have one that's that color. We can keep that one that dark gray if we wanted to. I'm just looking at all the parts. So we do have a purple, and this is a purple. Let's go back and change this one since we're on it. Let's go edit appearance, and let's go maybe kind of a gold color. I believe we can keep that color there for the tri connection, and we can keep the green. So I don't think we have any like greens. And that'll help keep everything organized when we get to assembly view. Which is we'll need this for assembly view. It'll be helpful, not required. Left click on sketch, left click top view, left click center point circle, drag that out, go up here to the dimension tool, left click on the diameter and go 0.48. We're going to create a hoop, the full hoop. Now let's go over and left click the line tool, hit escape, and let's go to the dimension tool, left click that line, left click the center of that circle we just created, and we'll go 28 inches just like we did on the other hoop segments. Now we're going to drag that out. We'll close that out, trying to get to a good isometric view. All right, let's go to revolve, and it's asking us what we want to use as the outer part, as the face of that part. Now let's go to revolve axis. Let's click on that line we created, and that's going to be our full hoop. And when we created the hoop segments, we did this as one direction. We did it by angle, but we're going to leave this as full Let's click on that. And let's zoom out. So that's going to be our hoop. We'll use that in assembly view. All right, we've got one last thing to do on these connections that I forgot to do at the beginning. And I want to finish up making the parts. All right, so we're going to start here. And I won't make you watch all of these because it'll be fairly easy to repeat through all the parts, just like it is changing the color. It's going to be fairly easy to do. Left click sketch, left click front view, left click center point circle. Let's go up here. Let's create a circle here. Let's go up here. Let's create another one here. And we'll go over here and we'll bring that one over. Let's take the dimension tool. Let's make these all the same size. Let's go 0.25. So that'll be a 1/4 inch for each one of these. Let's go 1 inch for all of these. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that looks good. Same thing for this one. Let's go 1 inch from this edge. And same thing for this one. Let's go 1 inch here. And let's go 2.5 inches here because that should be our center point. 2.5 inches here. Good. Now let's close that sketch out. Let's go left click on extrude. So we're going to go solid, remove. We're going to select that sketch we just created. We want these greater than 1 inch. Let's go 2 inches. Let's go symmetric. That should make the holes that we want. Let's close that out. And we can resize these easily. This is top view. On the front base connection, these are 1/4 inch, just like we did on the last part. But I wanted a way to either rivet or bolt. It'll probably have to be a rivet. And for this extrusion, same size, except this is a 1/2 inch away from the edge. And instead of this being an inch away, and it's not symmetric because I wanted it to start from the center of that. I don't need a hole on this side. I wouldn't be able to get to it unless I put a bolt through there, which is an option. But I'm going to just use a rivet. On this left view, I may go ahead and just film it so that you can see. Left click, right view. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to place one right in the center. Come over, left click. We'll make that 0.25, just like we did the others. And then we'll close that sketch out. We'll come over, let's go to extrude. And we'll go remove. We'll select that piece we just created. And there we go. It was easy to center it up, and that will allow us to place a rivet to keep that back frame connection and use that as a drill guide if we need it. Let's look at these parts. Gives you a rough idea of where I created the 1/4 inch holes. Yours don't have to be exact, but I would put them far enough off to support the tube and have a lot of material in between them and the end of the tube or the end of the connection. So there's the top frame connection. There's the tri connection. Pretty easy to do. Equal spacing. I placed a connection there for a rivet. And then 2 there on the front base connection for the spar hoop connection. Just 3 equally spaced. And for the side spar, same thing, equally spaced. And the back frame, one over here on the side so that I could rivet it.